Hello, fire signs, and welcome into your reading for the second half of May, where we'll be taking a look at jobs and careers, love and relationships, and life path and mission. So I'm going to do the general reading for fire signs, and then I'm going to be pulling cards individually for each of the signs within that. But before we get started on that part, let's go ahead and pull one of these crystal cards and see if there's any crystal in particular you're being encouraged to work with for the second half of the month. Not all of these cards have crystals on them, but I would say probably maybe 50 to 60% of them do have a specific crystal. So let's take a look and see what message is coming through here for fire signs. Elemental balance, harmony, centeredness, and reverence. So that's going to be your push for the month, is finding that harmony and finding that centeredness. And as you look at it, it's kind of that energy of wanting to find internal harmony, and not necessarily this isn't to say that you should be compromising yourself and your happiness to create harmony around you. This is about creating it within, because if you can create that balance within, that sense of alignment kind of just emanates from you. So working on keeping things in balance for the second half of the month. So we'll put this up over here, kind of refer back to it a little bit as we go. All right. So for the overall collective, I'll use the dog deck. So some of the things that are happening right now, we do still have Pluto in retrograde that started on May 2nd. And it's kind of this energy, it's like there's a slowing down of some of these intense transformations and upheavals that have been happening. And it's giving you a chance to kind of settle into your new patterns a little bit. Some of the other things that are happening then at the end of the month, because retrograde's already happening, but on the 20th, we have the sun entering Gemini. And that's going to be a lot of focus like on communications, for example. So that's encouraging you when we get into Gemini season to spend the next month with more of an active mind, like putting together some of your short-term plans, keeping busy, keeping active, keeping inquisitive. So this is not the time to just sit and keep yourself all holed up and like trying to weather any of the storms. Like the key here is be out, be moving, be dynamic. We also, on the 25th, we have Jupiter entering Gemini, and it's going to stay there for about the next year. And during this time, it's going to be a benefit for your mind, your ideas, your plans, and work on absorbing new knowledge, expressing yourself openly, and working on improving your communication. And the whole idea of expressing yourself openly is that idea of, North Node is in Aries, so standing in your power, being unapologetically you. All right, we are going to start with job and career. And in the recent past, for our fire signs, we've had the Three of Wands, currently sitting in this Two of Cups energy. Oh my gosh, that dog's so cute. And then the next level coming in is going to be the Three of Pentacles. So in the recent past, you've had this sense of kind of travel and freedom and growth with this Three of Wands. And right now you're sitting in this good partnership and companionship and connection. So it seems like things are going pretty well for you from a job perspective. And then the next level coming in is going to be this Three of Pentacles, which is some collaboration and creation and teamwork that's coming in. Also, if you are on a twin flame journey, this oftentimes signifies stepping into your mission, because the Pentacles, it's divine masculine, divine feminine, and spirit coming together as you start on your mission. So some of that, it could be like your life path and mission down here that we'll get to in a minute, but this would indicate that maybe from a job perspective, you might be working on collaborating with a divine partner. But if that's not the case, if that's not what resonates with you, with your story, just having good teamwork, good collaboration with others at work, and maybe even having some new ventures as you sort of branch out there. So really good positive energy sitting there for our fire signs from the job and career standpoint. Something else that's happening in the last half of the month is on the 23rd. And the 23rd, there's a couple things. We have Venus entering Gemini. And, so Venus is like the planet of love, and it's entering Gemini. And so this is pushing you to connect with others mentally and to express yourself and open up, because Gemini is a lot about communication. And so with that, as you have Venus moving into that sign, it's going to be that push to really open up within your relationships, communicate, have that good, meaningful, deep communication that's happening. On that same day, we also have a Sagittarius full moon, so you're going to be more passionate about your beliefs and about defending yourself and kind of, finalizing some plans. So it kind of has this energy of like finalizing some travel plans and thinking big picture. And remember, full moons are about releasing what's no longer serving you. So during that time, if you're more passionate about your beliefs, there's going to be kind of this energy of releasing situations, people, circumstances, relationships. And by that, I mean any sort of relationships, friendships, acquaintances, your group that you get together and have coffee with once a month. If their beliefs are not lining up with yours, this is kind of going to be some of that energy of cutting that away if it's no longer serving you. So there's a difference in having friends and relationships with people who have different beliefs, but if they get to the point where it's causing you, I'll call it bad energy exchanges, just like feeling like you're butting heads with them, that might be a time to consider scaling back on those relationships, cutting them loose as you work on harmony and centeredness. And with this reverence, it's almost like treating yourself as a sacred vessel. So as that's going to pan out, making sure that you're loving yourself. I had mentioned that North Node in Aries, where it's about being unapologetically you and a healthy level of putting yourself first. That's that reverence of loving yourself, making sure that you're taking care of yourself. So let's take a look at our love and relationships line in the recent past. There's the Fool, so it looked like there was a new beginning, currently sitting in the energy of Judgment. And then the Eight of Wands is the next level of energy coming in. So this is kind of like this fresh start in the recent past. And that could be, if you're not in a new relationship, it may have been a new beginning, like a new way of seeing things within the relationship. And then once you have that knowledge, Judgment coming in to say, okay, have you learned your lesson? There's been something new. Have you learned the lesson? So even though those are kind of at the far ends of the development of the major arcana, going from 0 up to 20, it is that sense of, if you've been given a new opportunity, especially if you're looking at this as an opportunity, not an actual true new beginning yet, but you have the opportunity to have a new beginning. Have you learned your lesson? Have you learned what you're supposed to learn in order to move this forward in a productive way? Now, the next level of energy coming in, and this is where we'll get some clarification sign by sign, is we have the Eight of Wands in reverse. And the Eight of Wands in reverse has this sense of like bad timing and missed chances and a little bit of slowness. And that would be, I would say that's going to be related to if you've been given a new opportunity, but you still haven't learned from the past, you may be in a position to lose this new opportunity because of bad timing, because of slowness, because of your, unwillingness to learn this lesson, and maybe missing your chance because you haven't learned it yet. So that's something, and like I said, we'll get some clarification as we go sign by sign, but that's something definitely want to dig a little bit deeper into that on the next level of reading. All right, then let's take a look at life path and mission for our fire signs and see what wants to come through there. All right. So in the recent past here, we have the Page of Cups, currently sitting in this Seven of Wands energy. And the next level of energy is the Four of Swords in reverse. Actually, it seems like today these cards are not filling the screen the way they usually do. I'm trying to do this so this way you can see it even as I move on to the next levels, because the cards look like they're getting cut off at the bottom here. All right, I'll tuck that one underneath there. So when it comes to your life path and mission, in the recent past here, we have the Page of Cups energy. So that's a little bit of this dreamer energy. You've been sitting in that place of kind of like daydreaming or fantasizing about, you know, what would life be like if I did this? So it's like you're being called to work on what is your life path, what is your mission. And when you sit in the quiet and you can let your mind wander, it's been giving you some glimpses as to what that might look like. And sometimes the Page of Cups also has a little bit of this energy of, I'll call it baby steps forward, because, you know, in the traditional deck, it has like a little offer. It's a single fish, which in the cup, which I think that would have been awesome if they would have put like one little dog bone in there. But anyway, so with that, it's kind of like little steps. So it's not necessarily this big grand gesture jumping all the way in on something new, but in the recent past, you've been thinking about that. You've been thinking more about what is it that you want, what is it that you want to do in this lifetime? What is it that you feel that you're being called to do? And then you're currently sitting in this Seven of Wands energy, which there's this sense of stamina and perseverance. You know, there's a self-assertiveness to it. So, you know, this dog has the stick in his mouth and he's going, even though there's some other sticks kind of poking up out of the ground around him, he's still going, he's still moving through it. In the incoming energy, we have our Four of Swords in reverse. So there's a little bit of this sense of like stress and breakdown and exhaustion because you're working so hard on how do you get there. But part of it too, and as we go sign by sign, we'll see what exactly this looks like. But some of it could be a matter of if your dreams, and when you're in that dreamer energy, if that is not, you know, if that's what you're being called to do, but your physical reality right now is not in alignment with it, it can bring on this sense of exhaustion when you're not in alignment. So some of that, as we look at here with this harmony, centeredness, and reverence, there is that sense of, are you in alignment? Are you doing what you're being called to do? So sometimes when you identify what you're being called to do, it's like there's a relief of feeling like, yes, I think I finally know what my purpose is. But then if your 3D reality does not reflect what you're feeling within your soul, then it creates this disconnect between, wait, I feel like I'm being drawn to do this, but how do I get there? And some of it is, it's going to be a matter of how do you use your creativity to get there? Because this is a 3 card. And so 3s are about creativity. And so how do you get there? How can you creatively get there and keep yourself in harmony? Like I said, with Jupiter entering Gemini at the end of the month on the 25th, and it's going to sit there for the next year, you really are going to be benefiting from your ideas, from your plans, from all of this that's going on in your mind, and you will be absorbing new knowledge as well. And I think that's really going to help as you try to figure out how do you make these dreams, these daydreams, actually come through in reality. So that is the overall message for our fire signs. Now we're going to go sign grouping by sign grouping. I'm going to pull some additional tarot cards and pull some of those oracle cards as well. And we'll take a look and we'll see what additional messages want to come through for you as it relates to what to look for in the second half of May. Now, it looks like things are pretty good. Things are going pretty smoothly from a job perspective. You know, there's some collaboration that's coming up and things are flowing smoothly. So actually with that, I think it looks like these are the areas maybe to focus a little bit more on. So let's focus on those, because like I said, it looks like things are pretty smooth sailing from a job perspective. So let's take a look at love and relationships. So as we said, you had this opportunity in the recent past for something to change, for something to be different, whether that's a new relationship, whether that's a new way to function within your existing relationship. And that was, now you're in this energy of being tested by the universe. So let's see, what are some of the blocks? Because there's this slow timing card here. So let's take a look at some of the blocks. These are two of them that jumped. We have Ace of Cups and the Tower. So the Ace of Cups is also about this new, kind of like a newness. So the ones, this is that creativity, that inspiration, that love, and it's kind of overflowing. And the other challenge is the Tower. So it looks like something needs to end before this new beginning can happen. And that could be some sort of third-party energy. Now, remember, third-party energy doesn't necessarily mean another person. It could be, your job is going so well that you really, really are focusing on your job. And that might be something that needs to shift in order for this new opportunity to really take root. So let's take a look. We'll pull, this is from that, like, love messages oracle deck that I created. So let's see. I'm a mess right now. So for some of you, if this is a third party situation, there's something that's really messy that's going on right now. And the Tower, remember, that's going to be what levels the playing field. That, some big, massive, sweeping change is coming in order to level things out and to bring you into alignment, to bring you into harmony. Now, remember, the Tower can either be, I'll call it outside circumstances. And these are, sometimes I put the little stones under here so that you don't get as much glare coming off that. But, sometimes that can be a matter of, like a breakup, you lose your job, you get evicted from your home, like something big that's happening externally to you, but also you yourself can trigger the Towers. So when you get to a point where you say, wait a second, such and such isn't working for me anymore, in this case, I think your job is fine. It seems like that's fine. But in some cases, like if your job was really terrible and it's sucking all the life out of you and it leaves you feeling yucky at night when you get home, then you can initiate the Tower and say, no, there needs to be sweeping changes that happen in my life. I'm going to tower myself, essentially. Because remember, when you talk about demolition, like building demolition, in this case, if you are the one that initiates it, you can control it a little bit better. Just like with in forests, sometimes they will do controlled burns to be able to clear out some of the dead stuff within the forest to keep it from turning into a major uncontrolled fire at some point in the future. So it's kind of like that. If you're the one that triggers it, you can be in charge of the controlled burn situation. So there is this sense of, I'm a mess right now. So sometimes that's, this can either be a message for you, or if you're, I would say this is the message for you if you're sitting in this energy, if there's a new opportunity and there's judgment, the judgment card coming in, but there's potentially some bad timing. So let's get another card here. What can our Aries do about this situation? Ooh. And here we have the Four of Wands. So that is also a twin flame card, and that's about twin flame harmony and coming into union. It's that domestic bliss. When you look at it, the two people are happy together. There, there's this wreath with the fruits, and which is representative of abundance. And so that's what the recommendation is to move towards that abundance. Let's see if there's another message here. Then there's this Seven of Swords energy, and this is going to be a little bit of this lies, deception, and cheating. So that might be what is related to I'm a mess. If you're trying to clean up a mess and not tell the other person about it, that could be what is causing you to possibly run into this bad timing. Let's take a look and see, let's pull a timing card and see what this looks like in terms of, you know, when this Tower moment seems to be coming through for Aries. Summer. So expect a summer full of change, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But then this is, you know, the Tower, and then followed by this sense of union is coming through from you know, during the summer. So that's coming up here pretty quickly. So that is what we have for the message for Aries on the love and relationship standpoint. And some of it too, again, as we look at this harmony, centeredness, and reverence, this, when we talk about, drop some of those cards there. When we talk about this Four of Wands, that is about domestic bliss. It is about harmony. It is about celebration and joy and community and family, you know, so it's all about having that sense of harmony within your life. And, you know, so I think that's really important to remember. That's what you're being pushed to do, is to bring yourself into balance. And sometimes bringing yourself into balance involves making major changes. All right, let's take a look at life path and mission, and then we'll pull other cards. All right, so you have Ace of Pentacles in reverse, and then you have the Five of Swords. So your Ace of Pentacles in reverse with your life path and mission this is also about missed opportunities. So there's a little bit of this slowness here, you know. So I think something for Aries for you to think about for the second half of the month is with the Sun entering Gemini, when the advice there was to kind of spend the next month with a more active mind and put together your short-term plans. I think there's a really strong push that you need to have some sort of plans together, because otherwise you're going to miss some of these opportunities. Like there was this energy that if you keep doing what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always gotten, with the Judgment card. So have you learned the lesson that you're supposed to learn? Because if you haven't, then you're going to keep missing these opportunities. And the same thing here, that there's this sense of like a missed opportunity when it comes to your life path and mission. And it could be that these are both tied together. So if you end up missing an opportunity there, then with your Five of Swords energy, it could be this kind of like dishonest, you know, and with this dishonest and ruthless, I'm not quite sure where this is coming in. So we'll get some clarification there, but you want to make sure that you are moving yourself forward in a good way as it relates to what is your life path and mission. As I was shuffling and the cards fell on the floor, we have Ace of Wands and Temperance. So Temperance is about finding that balance. This is also Archangel Michael, so he's the protector and or keeper of the twins. So he's being called into action here as well. And then your Ace of Wands is this excitement and the creativity and the new beginning. So what, you know, as you look at pulling yourself into harmony, into alignment, into that centeredness, make sure that you aren't doing things that would compromise that. So, you know, there's a couple of cards in here, you know, about like lies or deceit. You know, this is the Seven of Swords is about lies and deceit and kind of cheating. You know, he's kind of like sneaking away with some of these swords. This one is a little bit of this like ruthless energy of I'm keeping all the swords for me, and, you know, kind of defeating somebody else at all costs. So there's a little bit of that thread that's coming in there. So make sure that if you're trying to maintain this peace and balance, like you have that up here with work, don't let like ruthless energy creep in. Keep it nice and balanced. Like don't let that creep in, because otherwise it will result in some delays or some setbacks later down the road. So let's pull a couple of our Moon Oracle cards and see what messages want to come through with the Moon Oracle cards. All right. We've got what do you need to release, and we've got a new romantic cycle begins. So with this, A new cycle is beginning. Have you learned what you needed to learn, or are you going to end up looping again? So recently you've had this new opportunity and this new cycle is starting. So what have you learned that's going to allow this to move forward in a positive way, that's going to bring you into this Ace of Cups energy where you have that feeling of my cup runneth over, like love and abundance. And then with this, what do you need to release? This is going directly with the Tower of what is it along here, with this Judgment card. Have you learned your lesson? When there's lessons to be learned, there's something to be released, whether it's a physical something like an actual situation. Is it a mindset that needs to be released? And that could be what's causing you to be a mess right now. And with this lying energy, maybe part of what needs to be released is I get scared, so I lie to my partner, or I'm not as honest with my partner as I should be. I withhold information. So that could be something that needs to be released. So remember, like I said, the Tower is not necessarily always a physical something that has to happen. Sometimes it's major mind shifts. So let's take a look at a couple of these soul journey cards and see what happens there. And some of it too with this, what do you need to release? It can also go down here because you've had this perseverance and a little bit of exhaustion. So you had this dreamer type of mentality, but what created this sense of exhaustion here? Do you have self-limiting beliefs about, oh, well, nothing good is ever going to come of this, or I'm never going to amount to anything? Are those messages that you've been told, like, oh, you're never going to amount to anything, and so you have do you have any self-defeating beliefs or self-limiting beliefs that need to be let go? All right, so this one was wanting to jump as well, and then I'll pull one because I like to have one that's pulled. Okay, so your jump cards here, we had blame. I accept responsibility for my well-being. Empathy, I'm open to seeing both sides of a situation. And love, I commit to the practice of seeing the good in all things. So with this, from a blame perspective, and that can go kind of wherever. Are there situations where you're blaming another person, or are you blaming yourself, like, oh, nothing ever works out for me. It must be because I'm a terrible person. Like if that's the type of thing, that can be what needs to be released. So accept responsibility for yourself, but also don't let it slide into like self-deprecating types of thoughts. And then empathy, I'm open to seeing both sides of a situation. So from the lessons perspective, being able to look at it and say, what is the lesson that I needed to learn? And being able to look at it and say, okay, I understand why I made certain choices. And I think that goes along with blame as well. Understanding why you've made certain choices in your life and accepting that and forgiving yourself for making, if you think, oh, that was a terrible choice, accepting that, yes, at that point in your life, that's the choice you made. Honor that choice and, thank the universe for bringing in the experience, but release it if it's time to release it. If it's time to let go of whatever those thoughts are, let go of them and see the other side of the situation. And then also this, I commit to the practice of seeing the good in all things. Some of that is if it's been a hard lesson that you've had to learn, don't sit there and, kick rocks, so to speak, about the fact, oh, the universe just throws all this bad stuff at me and blah, blah, blah. Thank the universe for the lesson and then lovingly release it. Like learn it, lovingly release it, and move on. So overall, it looks like there's some very positive things happening for Aries. Like I said, it looks like things are running smoothly from a job perspective. Some things to think about with the love and relationships. It looks like there's a tower coming this summer, so it's building, and it's a matter of how do you want that tower to happen? Do you want to control it? Do you want to do the controlled burn, or do you want to risk the forest fire starting by pushing off making those decisions? But definitely work on centering yourself, work on that balance, work on that meditation, and again, really connect with others and have those good discussions, like as Gemini season comes in, when Venus is entering Gemini, like really work on your communication and your connection with others, and you know, call in your soul tribe here. Know that Archangel Michael is on the case and trying to help you bring balance in, because this is all about temperance, is all about balance, and that is a card of harmony as well. How do you bring in that balance in your life where you feel like you're being supported? So for example, you know, or do you feel like you're always doing all the work? Do you feel like you're always doing all of the, you know, giving, whatever the case may be? Finding that balance will help you bring inner harmony and inner centeredness. So Aries, I hope that you found this message to be helpful, but as always, take only what resonates and leave the rest. I will be doing some additional special readings over the course of the week, so make sure you hit the subscribe and notification bell to be alerted when the new videos post on the channel. Otherwise, I wish you peace and joy along your journey. Until next time, Aries. All right, Leo, let's take a look and see what messages want to come through for you. Push those back. And like I did for Aries, since it looks like everything is flowing smoothly from a job and career standpoint, I'm just going to leave that line as it is. It looks like there's some good collaboration coming up for you. Things are sitting pretty, since that was the original message that was coming in. If you are having struggles from a work perspective, then maybe watch the daily readings to see if one of those messages resonates with you. But let's go ahead and jump in on the love and relationships line. So let's get a couple cards here for Leo and see what else we've got going on. So we have our Six of Pentacles in reverse, and then we have our Three of Pentacles in reverse as well. So as we had talked about in the original part, you know, you have this Fool energy in the recent past. So there's been some new opportunity either within your relationship or with a new person. If this is with a new person altogether, and having the Judgment card being your present energy, that is going to be your recommendation to watch for red flags. If you typically date a certain type of person and that type of person has ended up not turning into a fulfilling relationship, like maybe you tend to attract emotionally unavailable people, or you tend to attract people who are narcissists, or people who are total drama queens, or whatever the case may be. If that's what your usual pattern is, with Judgment being your current energy, this is the universe's way of saying, okay, have you really healed and grown? Or are you repeating the same patterns over and over? If this is within a current situation, like maybe you have a new opportunity to take your relationship to the next level, are you learning, you know, your lessons that you're supposed to be learning? Because if not, then you may end up having those feelings of, wait a second, I missed a good opportunity here. You know, and that there's kind of a slowness to our relationship progressing to the next level. With you specifically, Leo, with our Six of Pentacles in reverse and then Three of Pentacles in reverse, there's a little bit of this tit for tat type of energy going on, and then also some conflict and rivalry. So if this is within a current relationship, it's almost like, well, no, I don't want to put in any extra effort into this relationship, because what am I going to get back? You know, so if you're sitting in that energy, you know, maybe historically that's how things have gone in the relationship. If you've been more of the giver and you feel like that's been maybe taken for granted, if you've been given this new opportunity to do something different within the relationship, either level it out to encourage the other person to give more, or an opportunity for you to just say, you know what, no, I'm not going to continue to be in situations that are depleting for me, then this is where the Judgment card comes in. Are you going to let that opportunity pass you by, or are you going to do something about it? And it looks like there's a little bit of this I'll call it like butting heads type of energy. Like I said, this energy, this lack of charity kind of, it's very much this tit for tat. Like I don't want to invest my energy in something that isn't really going to work out. And sometimes that can be a good thing. It can be a healthy way to say, you know what, I'm not just going to be this bucket that's constantly pouring out my energy to everybody else. I'm going to be more selective about it. I need to keep some of that good energy for me, but knowing that there is this sense of like conflict, rivalry. This also has a sense of apathy with it as well. So it could just be more so like apathy, like, you know what, I've given so much, I kind of don't really care. And, you know, so some of that from a judgment standpoint, you know, is have you learned that lesson? So let's pull a card. This is one of those messages, you know, kind of like messages from your person type of card. Ooh, okay, so we've got, I'm planning for a future with you. Oh my gosh, okay, so there were 3. I think about you all the time, and I'm getting my life in order. So this has a sense of trying to get things in order. Maybe you've missed opportunities in the past, and so you're trying to go in, or the other person is trying to go in and correct things within their life because they do want to have this future with you. And so it looks like there is positive energy about wanting to have a future together. It's just a matter of, you know, like, what is this missed opportunity? What is this slowness about? So tell me about this slowness and this missed opportunity. Knight of Wands in reverse. So that's this like reckless type of energy. You know, the Knight of Wands in the upright is this adventure, like fearlessness and confidence. So it's almost like, you know, this, the flip side of that would be like this recklessness or some angry energy. So that like the slowness in terms of moving things together is that there's a little bit of like anger, maybe some built up resentment about, you know, which party is giving more. So there is a lot of loving energy, but there is also that, I'll call it kind of gritty energy. So what is the advice from Spirit here? What is the advice from Spirit on how to bring this into a more harmonious state? The Hanged Man. So advice from Spirit here is going to be kind of this self-imposed period of reflection and making adjustments and kind of being able to turn over a new leaf. So if the opportunity here is how do you avoid getting into arguments, you know, so the Judgment might be about arguments and what do you do when you get triggered or hurt? Do you fall back into this, well, I'm not going to do this unless I know what's, you know, unless I know it's going to work out for me. And you kind of have that apathetic, well, I'm not going to put in more energy. That's kind of a reckless way to go because it's not really focusing on how do you communicate, how do you bring yourself together. So especially as like Venus enters Gemini and as the Sun enters Gemini, where, you know, you're making plans for the future, where you're connecting with others and expressing yourself and having that good communication, I think that will help this situation. But it looks like the lesson here, like you've had some opportunities here to show the universe that you've learned this lesson about not responding recklessly or not responding apathetically if there's been a hiccup. Because you can have a future, even if that's the way you behave, but you're going to have all these ups and downs if you can't regulate the way you respond to being triggered. All right, so let's take a look at life, path, and mission and see what other messages we have for Leo. 3 of Cups in reverse and Ace of Swords in reverse. And it's funny, all these are coming out in the reverse. And it's not like all of them are in the reverse, so it's not like I just picked up my deck going the wrong way. But So you have your Ace of Swords in reverse, which is a little bit of the sense of confusion and, maybe some chaos, a little bit of like a loss of focus there. And then your Three of Cups in reverse is this kind of lonely, reclusive energy. So as you're trying to figure out your life path and mission, there's a little bit of confusion here. Like you're working so hard on it, but you're getting burned out. So then it kind of gives you that sense of confusion of, wait, is this really the path that I want to be on? Because it's lonelier than I thought it was going to be. And so I think when you were over here in this Page of Cups energy, you weren't envisioning it being that lonely. So let's pull a couple of these moon cards and see what message wants to come through there. Communication is key, new moon in Gemini, and a fiery climax approaches. So for you, based on this line here, where kind of the, and this is, full moon in Aries, so some fire sign energy there. This is, I would say, a cautionary tale of, this seems to be maybe what your lesson is, what your challenge is how do you not respond this way? So it looks like there might be a buildup to a trigger. So really work on grounding yourself and really work on your communication with your partner so that you can learn to self-regulate and have more of this harmony, have more of this centeredness and this balance going on instead of the ups and downs. All right. Then we have honesty and loneliness. Oops. So with honesty, I can't always expect the truth from others, but I can expect it from myself. The card that jumped here was regret. Loneliness. I know that I'm never alone. And then regret. I know that I cannot change the past. So with this, if there's a lesson here, you can't change the way you used to respond to things, but you can change the way that you respond going forwards. And this loneliness, kind of as you're working on your life path and mission, this is something that you need to work through. If it feels that lonely, does that still feel like that's the right path for you? Or maybe is some of this perseverance, how can your daydream change a little bit to be able to give you a happier experience there and make you not feel quite as lonely? So Leo, I hope that that's been helpful, but as always, take only what resonates and leave the rest behind. And I will be doing some additional types of readings over the next week, so make sure you hit the subscribe and notification bell if you want to be alerted as to those posting on the channel. Otherwise, I wish you peace and joy along your journey, Leo. Until next time. Alrighty, Sagittarius. Let's take a look and see what other messages want to come through for you with this reading for the second half of May. And as I did for Aries and Leo, the top line, job and career-wise, looks good. It looks like everything is running smoothly. So we're just kind of jumping in and focusing on love and relationship and life path and mission. So starting with the love and relationship, as a reminder, with that Fool energy, you've recently been given a new opportunity or a new beginning. So for some of you, if this is the chance of a new relationship, it could be a new beginning. And the Judgment card of, have you learned your lessons? Have you learned from past mistakes in relationships or past red flag scenarios? Or if it's within an existing relationship, you maybe have an opportunity to level up within that relationship, whether it's deeper commitment or whether it's just, growth. So let's take a look. What other messages do our Sagittarius need to know? You have this Eight of Swords energy, and you also have Queen of Pentacles energy. So for you, Sag, there's this sense of being trapped, but you're really not trapped. So this is like, it's like you're in a three-sided prison cell. There's one side that's totally open, so there's swords behind. There's this one sword up here, but relatively speaking, she can walk out, but it's scary because she can't see where she's going and her hands are tied. So there's a sense of being scared, and it might be a matter of you're on that precipice, that new beginning, but you're scared because your past, in terms of relationships, your past relationships haven't worked out. So do you want to take that leap? And Judgment is also this sense of like awakening and renewal. and, you know, like you've learned your lesson, you're leveling up, you're going to the next place. But then there's this slowness that's coming in if you're kind of dragging your feet about learning that lesson. Um, the Queen of Pentacles, this is that kind of like luxurious, nurturing, comforting type of energy. So let's pull a card here, because it's like you have this energy that wants to come in, but you're still feeling trapped by something in the past. But that's more of it's a trap in your mind. It's not necessarily a trap in real life for you. All right, so what do we have here? I remember you from a past life. Oh, there's two of them together. And then it says, I hear your voice in my head. So this is a deep connection where you are feeling deeply connected with the person, but there's this sense of feeling trapped or scared. So let's take a look, like what is the advice from Spirit for how our Sagittarius should respond here? What should your next steps be? Then you have, this is the Six of Cups in reverse, and this is about feeling, again, like feeling stuck, and that you're focusing too much on the past. And there is this energy of leaving home as well. And, you know, for some of you, this part of I hear your voice in my head, this could be a past life connection that's causing you to want to leave home. You know, whether that's that you're in an existing relationship with somebody else, maybe you live at home, you know, with your own family, or like with your parents type of thing, or sister, brothers, cousins, whatever, and you feel like you have to leave home, but you feel trapped because it's like, but I'm not necessarily ready to do that, but you're being given the opportunity to take that next step forward. And you know, so the message, at least for Sagittarius, is coming through almost more that this is a younger scenario, like, you know, where you are living with family, not, you know, a spouse and your children, but, you know, parents or cousins or, you know, something like that. Like that's what your home is. And it's going to take you stepping out of that comfort zone. Now, remember also, home doesn't necessarily, when it says leaving home, isn't necessarily like physical residence, but leaving your comfort zone, stepping out of the familiar, like you're being given an opportunity for something and it's going to require you to step out of the familiar. And in the past, maybe you haven't done that and you've missed some different opportunities. So if you get stuck in that loop of, oh, but this is unfamiliar, and you kind of feel trapped, like, but I can't leave because of this, I can't leave because of that, then you're going to end up having those feelings of like missed opportunities there. So it looks like, you know, it looks like this is a strong connection. What does it look like? What else does our Sagittarius need to know about this connection? What do they need to know about these obstacles or this missed opportunity? Three of Wands in reverse. So your Three of Wands in reverse is about clinging to the past. So there is something about like the past is really holding you back from being able to have this new opportunity coming up, for you being able to grow. Like you're really pulled in that direction, but there's something from the past that's holding you back. So when does it look like you're going to move on from this past issue that's holding you back? When does it look like that's happening from a timing perspective? When you're ready. So essentially, you know, and it's interesting, this really goes with this Eight of Swords. It's a self-imposed prison. She can get out of there at any time she wants. She can just walk forwards, follow the water, walk forwards, and she can be out. So when you're ready, you'll move on. I guess the cautionary thing is, depending on how long you take, you may miss some opportunities there. All right, life path and mission. So it looks like you had these ideas and then you had all this perseverance and then you kind of got exhausted. So what else does Sagittarius need to know about this life path and mission? The Star in reverse. So the Star in reverse is a little bit of that lack of faith in the divine, like you're getting frustrated that things aren't coming together as well. What will help you overcome this frustration? What will help Sagittarius overcome this? This Nine of Swords in reverse. This is seeking help. So seeking outside help. Like you don't need to do all of this on your own. If you can seek some outside help, it's going to make you feel less overburdened by this. So let's take a look here. What do we have with our moon cards? Don't let pride get in your way of asking for help. And then we also have nothing will come of this situation. So keeping yourself trapped in the past, nothing's going to come of it. Like keeping yourself trapped in the past isn't going to make the situation better for you. It's just going to keep you looping longer. All right, and let's pull a couple of these soul journey cards. Grief. I understand that losing something is an opportunity to appreciate it. And envy. So grief could be that you lost something in the past and you just keep cycling that. You just keep reliving it over and over. And that's kind of what needs to be let go of. And then with envy, I'm the same as everybody else, but with different challenges. So some of this could be getting frustrated because you feel like other people have it all figured out. Things are working out for them, but don't let your attention turn to them. Work on your own centeredness, work on your own harmony. And if you're able to bring that into balance for yourself, that will help you feel like you're on your life path and mission. But remember, don't let the past hold you back from a relationship standpoint. When you're ready, you can walk forward and you can walk out and be able to close out that lesson, be able to sit in that better space with that, higher level connection that you're becoming aware of. So I hope that you found this message to be helpful, but as always, take only what resonates and leave the rest behind. I will be doing some additional readings this week, so make sure you hit the subscribe and notification bell to be alerted when those post to the channel. Otherwise, I wish you peace and joy along your journey, Sagittarius. Until next time.